Join me to see who will survive the purge, part 2. Hello and welcome back, everyone, to the Trucker That Board Games here. And today is going to be a hard one. Today is going to be a hard day of calling, but we are running out of room. So, you know, once again, I'm not trying to look like the hoarders. So, unfortunately, this one's going to be these are going to be some hard games to let go. These are some of my favorite campaign games, but I've already played them, so there's no reason to hold on to them. And with that, we're going to start with this one. This is a mistake by me. The 20 Songs Tanglewood. So I bought the core box of this, and I don't know what I was thinking. I bought the core box that had Tanglewood Red, and I never had any of the 20 Strongs. So when I bought it, then I ordered a Tanglewoods Red. So that's a complete hiccup on my part. So yeah, be careful when you buy the Tanglewood series or the 20 Strong series. Your core box is going to come with a game, and make sure you don't order the same one. That was just that was dumb on my part. So that cost me, luckily it wasn't too much money. It was only $16 or something like that. So I mean, it's not the end of the world. Unfortunately, though, that was a mistake on me. All right, this one here. I just completed this a little bit ago, um, but it's ISS Vanguard. Now, this campaign, I don't know. Um, so I like the story of this, but my only problem was the gameplay was not that fulfilling. So, yeah, I don't know. I was thinking if I wanted to save it for my son, but I don't know. I figure there'll be better games that come out in the next couple years. Maybe, who knows? But Awaken Realms, they're one of my favorite companies. Almost every one of their games is good. I have a lot of them. This one, you're kind of doing your spaceship thing, but you have a binder, and it is kind of like, oh, okay, I put this in this binder, that in that binder. It does walk it through, but some people are thrown off by that. It's kind of like work. You're like filling up a binder, and you're going through steps in order. The missions are fun, um, but some of the maps you can go back to like twice, like planets, like they encourage you to go back to. But quite honestly, there's not enough on the planets that, like, I don't know, the gameplay is just not there. It's just a little bit of dice manipulation with some cards. But in the grand scheme of things, like, I was playing four characters. I was playing all four characters in this because there wasn't that much strategy to it. Um, so I didn't find it that difficult. I mean, sometimes you just got bad rolls, which that can happen in a dice game. But yeah, the gameplay of this was probably my least favorite out of all the Awaken Realm games. But the story was actually pretty good. So it had one of the better stories of the Awaken Realms game. So it's kind of like in the middle there. Um, yeah, but it's definitely it'd be fun to play through if you could get it cheap and play through it once. But then I wouldn't keep it. I mean, there's no reason to keep it. I have the Lost Lost Fleet here too. I didn't even open it, so that just shows you I'm kind of just done with it. The gameplay wasn't there for me. Um, but yeah, I mean, the story is still fun. I would definitely say if you want a good narrative driven, dungeon crawl, ISS Vanguard, it can't hurt to get it, try it out. But other than that, the gameplay's not there. I like games that have a lot of card effects too. In this game, you could upgrade your deck, but quite honestly, there was only a couple cards to upgrade, and some of them were just making the cards that you had a little bit better. So realistically, it really wasn't adding that much. It was kind of the card the card upgrade mechanic was kind of lame. Um, so your character leveling system, I don't know. It's probably, like I said, the narrative's good. The gameplay was kind of meh, to be honest. This bad boy here, Frosthaven. I mean, look at this box. This is ridiculous. this is silly. I mean, let's see how big this thing is. The first one was big. This one's just ridiculous. This thing's 16 inches across, 10 inches tall. I mean, that's just crazy. Yeah, this one's got to go because it's too much. Now, I played the original Gloomhaven with a group of friends. We did about 50 missions, had a blast. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, but fortunately, I guess, people had kids and, the group kind of fizzled out. They didn't want to come over as much. And Gloomhaven was a lot. Frosthaven is too much, way too much. I do like how you build your village. That's kind of cool, but with all that, it just adds so much more to the game. If you're adding a city phase on a game that already took 2 hours to play, now you're extending it to 2.5 hours, and then that's not even including setup, teardown. Unless you have a table, which I fortunately can leave it on a table for a while, but I mean I can't leave it on there for 6 months. And then the characters I thought were a little bit more complex than I wanted them to be. Gloomhaven was fine for me. Not too complex. You can figure them out, but these characters, I get what he was going with. This is definitely an advanced version of Gloomhaven. So if you have a bazillion hours and you can do it by yourself, most likely it's not a bad game to get. But the story in this one was the story in the first one wasn't that great. The story in this one, I don't know. I was not feeling it. I was only like 20 missions in, 15 missions in. I don't know. The story wasn't doing nothing for me. It's kind of weak. Um, the card play was fun, like I said, but some of these missions, I had a mission where I had like 40 enemies on the map. So it was silly. Whenever I took a card up and had to activate them, you got to plan all that out. So this mission like bogged me down. And that was pretty much the end of when I was playing Frosthaven. Because then there was, well, not only that, there was another mission too where it was like on odd turns, even turns. Then sometimes it was like, oh, now on this turn. So first off, odd even turns, that was a little bit in the first game too, but this game just took it to a whole different level. It was just way too hard. It's just too much. I would just recommend getting the waiting. I think they already have it out. I would just play it on PC. And normally I do not like doing that. I'd rather play a game in person. If I'm gonna play a game on PC or Xbox, I'm just gonna play it. I'm gonna play like a video game. I'm not gonna play a board game. That's just me. I get why people do it. I like playing with people in person. It takes me back to the old days when I used to play like Madden in front of the TV. You have your buddies come over. You can all talk crap to each other. This is early 90s, by the way. Or, Mario Party. That was a blast as a kid. Have all your buddies come over from the neighborhood, play against their buddies from a different neighborhood. That's why I like board games, because I like getting around a table with people you don't know, people you know, and have a good little competition. But this one, like I said, it was just too much. It takes up a whole cube. I mean, and I'm not gonna save this. There's no way. My son, the only one that would maybe play it with me is my son. He's 6 now. I'm not waiting. I'm not waiting 10 years. I guess he could probably play it a little sooner than that, but there's just no way. So yeah, I don't know. This is kind of a disappointment for me. I was having high hopes. I couldn't wait to get this, and when I got it, I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is gonna take forever." And like I said, you know, Gloomhaven, I was playing 3 characters by myself. I played like 40 missions by myself with 2 characters. Then I would play with 3 because I do like 3 characters because it just adds a little bit of variability to the game. You could build your characters a little bit different. But Frosthaven, I was struggling playing 2 characters. So that just tells you how much harder or how much more complex these characters are. I guess you could like look up a build guide or something, but I like doing that myself. So yeah, this is kind of depressing one here. Frosthaven, I mean, too much. And the sad thing is that's what people wanted with it. So, and I might be in the minority of that one. People do love it. Some people I talk to, I mean, they absolutely love Frosthaven compared to Gloomhaven. I'm the opposite. Next, as you can see, there's gonna be a lot of campaigns. This campaign here, Ether Fields. This was just an excellent game. The story in this one was not that great. I'm not gonna lie. Um, it wasn't that it was bad. It was just it really didn't have a story. I mean, they called a dream crawler instead of a dungeon crawler. First off, look at that box art. I mean, just amazing. This whole game was just the whole game was amazing as far as I'm concerned. The story, like I said, the story was a little bit lackluster. It still was okay. It was just kind of hard to follow, and even at the end, you're still kind of like, you know, I don't know. I guess it was just a dream, and that's not even spoiling anything. It's not like that's not what the meaning of the end game was. It's just the story is just not, not as good as it could have been. You really don't know what's going on in it a lot of times. But the card play in this was really good. I really like the card play. I really like the dungeon mechanic. You're just putting a bunch of cards out, and then you could put cards over top of cards, and lay them a certain way. It would really change up the map. And I mean, basically, when you're boiling down to it, it is kind of like a deck builder. But your cards in this, when you upgrade and build your deck or buy them, they're they actually you can change how you play quite a bit. And I played through. There was 4 characters. I did 2 character playthrough, and I did two, and then I switched up when I got to the Harpy campaign and She Wolf campaigns, and played the other two. And I had fun with all of them. They're not crazy. The characters aren't crazy different, but they're different enough. And people said they didn't like the grind of it. I didn't find it that grindy. Yeah, you might have to go back and play a mission or two, or they said the Dreamscape was kind of a little grindy because you would have to go into this like dream world and you'd fight like the same thing a couple times over and over again. But honestly, it wasn't that long. And if you really wanted to skip it, you could skip it by just saying, "Oh, I'm going to take a damage." I didn't do that. I didn't think it was that bad. Then they came up with the updated rules. They had like an upgraded map pack. I played with the old map pack still. I didn't want to upgrade it because it really cut through a lot of the stuff. It really made it super linear. Um, but yeah, so I thought it was excellent. I love the different worlds. They had one world where you're on like there was like colored like a kid's drawings. They had a world where you're in like a kind of like a hedge mage. They had all kinds of different things, and that was kind of cool because that opened it up. The dream aspect of it opened up what they could do with it. So you could have a crazy, you could have a lighthouse mission. Then you could go to a school mission. Then you could go to, you know, a haunted library mission, stuff like that, because it's all in the dream. So they could do whatever they want. So that it really opened up what they could do. Now, once again, like I said, story wise, they didn't really make the story that great, I guess. But the gameplay mechanics were excellent. Like I said, just upgrading your cards, you can buy cards, you can swap them in and out. Um, you'd have to get these keys, and just going it, like I said, just even traveling along the map. I know people didn't like that. I liked it. So there really wasn't much I can say about this or complain about this. It is one of my favorite dungeon crawlers. I had a lot of fun with it. Like I said, for me to beat the main game and the expansion on a dungeon crawler of this size is that's pretty rare for me. I mean, I do complete a lot of dungeon crawlers, but this one here, I did enjoy. So if you can get Etherfields pretty cheap, I would suggest getting it. I mean, like I said, I had a blast with it. You just got to know the story's not that great. You're really getting it for the card play, which I thought was fun. This one's kind of sad here. This one I'm kind of torn on still, but I do have like everything for it. Um, Zombicide Black Plague. Now I got the base box. I got the Wolfsburg box. I have the map tiles. I have the Kickstarter stuff. I have the Kickstarter fan made stuff. I have or the special designers. I have the Deadeye Walkers, the Crows, the wolves, the NPCs. Try to think if there's another one. The extra monsters. But mainly the reason why this one's going is once again, it's a lot. I have it's these two big boxes plus I have a plastic like fishing tackle box, but a big one, full of minis and rule books and extra cards. So this one is kind of sad because I do like it. They're a little bit it's a little bit light for the dungeon crawls I like. So it is a good dungeon crawl for like people that aren't super heavy into dungeon crawls. You can kind of just throw them into this one. You can get wrecked in this one though, for sure. It is my favorite theme, the medieval theme. I do love the medieval theme, and I love zombie. I've loved zombies ever since Resident Evil One. When Resident Evil One came out, that blew me away on PlayStation. When the zombie turns his head, blood all over his face. Oh man, that was so great. But yeah, there's really nothing left to say. I mean, I've got my use out of it. Unfortunately, it's just gonna have to find another place to go for, find another home, and I could just replace, get some other extra games that are going to hit the table. This one just really hasn't been hitting the table. And do I really want to hold on to it? Not really. Time or space is limited. And this is the last one here. This one's kind of depressing because I really wanted to go through this Clicks Madness here. It's basically like a D&D book for the Hexploric games. I love the Hexploric games. This is Return to the Dead King, the Valley of the Dead King. This one, in my other video I talked about, I ordered on Kickstarter. I think I got 3 of the Hexplorets, or 2 of the Hexplorets. I got 2 of the Hexplorets, I think, and I got all the Return 2s. And I got this Click Madness campaign. Like I said, this is really nice quality. Really nice. I went through a little bit of the story. I read a little bit of it. It seems really good. The thing I like about this game is the backstories. The world he builds are great. I mean, for someone who doesn't have like a D&D group, I could have one. I just don't have the time. This is really nice. The Hexplore games are super fun, and it's like D&D. A very light. It's not light. It has a lot of math, but it's basically a D&D in a box. And you're gonna pick characters, and they get I think it's 2 different. Yeah, it's like 2 different abilities. And you got passive abilities. You can get like a little side character. You can get traits, and that's the fun of the game. You could be like a merchant, or just the characters combinations are excellent. Let's see here. Yeah, like I'll just show you some right here. Spellblade. Like if you've never looked into Hexports, I'm telling you, look into it. It's all dry erase markers. You have your attack, your defense, and then you have 2 special powers here. But this is the one problem with the game. There's a lot to going on with the powers, and there is a ton of math. But you get whenever you're moving on the map, you're gonna roll for your navigation. You're gonna ride for food and gold. I mean, but the characters are so much fun to play, and these are some of the monsters you fight, and you just roll a d6 and or yeah, roll a d6 and you'll do their attack patterns. Like I said, there's a lot of reading going on, a lot of math, but it is so much fun. It really is. But the problem is when I ordered everything, I got all my other stuff. I didn't get the main game of the Valley of the Dead King, and they're like, I can't remember. I think they're like 60 or $80, but I just can't come to buying the game that I should have got. And I emailed them. They never emailed me back. He's a small company, so I'm not saying nothing bad about the guy. I love his games. This is the one I don't have, and I refuse. I'm just not going to buy the game that I already paid for. It just kind of that's kind of a me thing, I guess. So I'm literally selling this. I never played it, never gonna play it because I don't have the original, and this is the add-on to it. And this is the campaign book that goes with the Valley of the Dead King. So unfortunately, I'm just not going to get to play it. His second one, it's a forest. You're in a forest, and there's like mind control. The third one, you're in a desert. That one's really good, but it's the hardest out of all of them. most complex. There's like a desert map tile phase, but it's pretty cool storyline. There's like a sandworm coming up and devouring cities, and then the fourth one is a vampire themed. I like that one probably the most, but the story is great with them. They give you like monster like descriptions of the monsters, and it's just really cool. Like the different, he really does a good job of world creating and giving you different kinds of ideas. You know, you look at generic fantasy. This is not generic fantasy. The characters, the different monsters, you're gonna find all kinds of different stuff. Not your basic, mage, dwarf, elf. You're gonna find all kinds of crazy stuff. Now you will find like goblins and stuff, but Hexplorets, they are a blast. I'm kind of disappointed I didn't get to play the Valley of the Dead King. I don't know if I would assume it's probably not the best one since it is the first one, but I would have liked to play it. So it's not a big deal. I have the other three. I think he's coming out with 6 of them total. Not 100% sure. I think he's gonna do 6 of them. He said. So I'm probably just gonna stick with the 3 that I have. That's enough for me. But it was kind of disappointing. So yeah, unfortunately, this has got to go. No point to keep it. I'm not gonna buy the original one again. So yeah, with that, that's the last call video here. I definitely freed up some room, especially getting rid of these campaign games. That's gonna free up a ton of space. But yeah, this one was sad. This was definitely a sad video because these are some of my favorite games. Ether Fields, you know, Black Plague, ISS Vanguard. You know, it's just a bummer to get rid of them, but there's not enough time and there's not enough space. So with that, I'll leave it there. Thanks for watching.